Hi, in this video we are going to check how to verify the production number that have been assigned to our element. In a matter of fact, what we are going to check also apply to item list numbers. This is the check position number feature in tools and check position numbers. Here you can actually select on which type of position number you wish to run that check. In this example, we are going to use the production list, and here you will be able to set that check either on active elements or all visible elements. If it's find discrepancy, they are going to be listed in this table. So the way it works is it's going to activate automatically the elements that are touched by this discrepancy. It doesn't mean that all elements have issues, it's simply that maybe one of them or several of them are different from the rest. So to understand this window here, we have the first main lines. So this is simply here, it says that element with the position number 26 with a total count of 2 as discrepancy, and number 57 with a total count of 20 elements have discrepancy. You can here simply change the elements that are visible, and also the zoom on active element that will automatically help you out when you are working on a large project. So here then, for each of these discrepancy, we will have a bit of the same organization. So you will here have different or multiple lines based on the amount of discrepancy you have. Basically, it means that with the amount of line you see here, this is actually how many numbers should have been used to describe all of these elements in this line. So here, for example, we have 2 lines, so we should have actually used 2 different numbers for these elements. Same goes here, we have a total of 19 elements that are identical, and then one other that has discrepancy on the material. So when you have something like this, in this case, for example, it could be that we've made a mistake. So here, material, among all these elements, this is maybe a mistake, they should all be identical. And here we have like drilling and tolerance axis counterbore. One thing to be aware of here is it's going to show you which element you have, but it's never going to actually highlight or show actually on the screen where the discrepancy come from. Mostly when you have like drilling and overall sizes discrepancy, it's not going to highlight them on screen. Simply let you know the type of discrepancy that there is. So here, this discrepancy, of course, could be fixed simply by checking the elements. And one thing that can be sometimes problematic, here we see that we have here different material, so we can select one, Control A and M by material, they are all identical, this one is different, this is the one that should be updated. So here there is a different way, and there is one thing that was covered in the previous video called the match command that allows us to grab information from any other element to change the attribute of the active element. And here let's say that I would like to actually change the material only taken from this guy, so now it's going to be pine, and now they are all identical, meaning that if I were to run a position check on those items, so here only on active elements, position has not found any discrepancies. But for element like this, it might be a bit more complex, because they are in all that appears to be identical, but the difference is actually either the cut and in that case drilling, meaning that even if we were to compare them, take dimension here, we don't see that information in here because drillings are actually not shown. So here, quick thing here that you could do to actually see those drillings is to go in the view mode in the tools function here and make sure that here you have actually the drilling activated. So like this, the drilling will be actually extruded in the file and or on visible elements, and here we can see directly what the issue is. We are missing here the drilling for one of the connectors that are attaching the secondary beam on that element. So when we found the issue, we can simply here, of course, fix that issue. I'm just going to here actually copy these from this element to this one, and now of course if we select the element of the same production number of this one and run a position number check, we should not have any discrepancy again. But here actually, what would we need to do if actually we know that we have discrepancy, and it would be normal for us to have discrepancy because the elements are actually no longer identical, meaning that the production number has been assigned too early in the process and or are simply do not account for a modification that we had to do afterwards. For this example here, I'm just going to do a simple change, and here this element, for example, we have two of them. Let's say that here I'm just going to delete this cut here, so with Control D in order to delete a process, and now here we have discrepancy. But it is okay because this element actually we need it to be cut this way, it doesn't need to match the other ones. So when you have something like this and that you find discrepancy, I'm just going to keep them active and run a new position number calculation on them. So here there is one thing really important. So if I go back here to production number and calculate, it's going to display of course the calculation window, and here there is one function you need to be aware of. Here if we check the current number that are going to be assigned, it's going to assign the number 88 and 89. But we've seen that the production number of this element was, I think, 24, if I'm not mistaken, meaning that if we run the calculation like this, we will no longer have position number 24 available in the file. It's not a big issue, but it might simply arise question like, where is element 24? But actually it doesn't exist. So in cases like this, it would be interesting here to use the option, if possible, keep existing position numbers. So here it's simply telling us that it will do its best not to assign different position numbers to the active element. However, if they are different, it will need to assign another element at least to one of them. And this number here will simply be taken directly from the available range, or simply here you could type any number you'd like to be used instead. So here we are going to use the range and press OK. Of course here it's going to let us know that it's not able to keep existing numbers, which is okay. And one thing interesting here is that last step. If you did not create any documentation or anything, I do not need actually to save the old production number that was previously assigned to the element. You don't have actually to do anything here. But let's say that in early list we add, for example, information about this element 24, or maybe we already like sent or generated like a bill of material, and actually this element could be taken from the exact same type of beams. So for the bill of material there is no actually any difference with this new added cut, but we will be actually assigning another number. So here simply you can track or assign the previous number to any of the attributes. So here I'm just going to assign that to my comment and press OK. If I now check these two elements, they of course no longer have the same production list. This one remained 24, and this one here has changed to be 88, and if we check its comment, of course we will have the information about the previous production number that was assigned to this one. One thing also is, it's not because 24 was assigned to an element of this shape previously that it's going to keep that same logic afterwards. So next here we are going to check how a new element without position number could be automatically assigned a position number already assigned to another identical element. So for this example here, I'm just going to select one of our elements, no matter which one it is, and copy it here, and let's say it doesn't have position number, so 1 to modify, P for position number, 0, okay. So one thing that you could do is simply, you need to always select the element with the element you want to scan, like you want to compare it with. So what we could do here, of course, is we could select everything and run or everything that has already number and the element to be numbered, and run the calculation again. Or one other thing that we are going to check here that could be a bit more useful is, before trying to assign numbers, simply checking if we have actually elements that are identical to this one. And there is one way of doing this using in help and F1, F12 functions. You can actually look for a function here called select identical geometry. So for those of you who are not familiar with the F keys, it simply allows you to bind specific functions to F keys. One thing that is interesting about the different available functions you have available in here are that there are some that are actually not found throughout the menus. And the one we need to use is actually one of them. It's activate same geometry. So activate same geometry will simply allow us to quickly select the elements that are supposed to be identical to the current active item. So Alt F7 on that guy, and here automatically it selects the other ridge. As we can see at the moment, I don't have identical position number simply because one is empty. So if we go export list and production list number and calculate, here you see that it automatically recognizes that the active element are actually identical. And even though this one is already number 88, you see here that the range starts at 88. So it knows that number 88 is an available number for this guy. So here we can simply here press OK, and here of course we have now these two elements with the same number without changing the number previously assigned to the original element. This was it for the position check control. Keep in mind that it works exactly the same for other numbers that you assign this way. So the item list number and the wall position number. Thank you for watching.